You go back to the beginning of the rainy season. Hopes are high. We knew that we had a La Nina brewing, which means usually less rain for Southern California, more for the Pacific Northwest. For our local area, we're somewhere in between, hoping that we would lean on the wet side because, last year was pretty dry. But you know what? Here we are. The reality is about a third of the state is in a 4 out of 5 extreme drought category. There's 5% in this darker red, but that's mostly the east side of the Sierra and some of the deserts. So it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. But you look at these other states, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, they are in much worse shape. But we don't want to be on that path because we know what happens when we hit some of those higher stages of drought. Some bad things can happen, including major water restrictions. So while we're holding out hope for some late season rain, remember, we're in the quiet spot in the atmosphere. You go over to the Midwest and they're dealing with either snow, or for the Southwest, early fire conditions. So what we have today is a windy day, and in April in Northern California, because everything grows here quite easily, we're going to have a higher pollen count. Now what that means for you is that allergies may be an issue for you. If they've been bothering you lately, you got to watch out for even these breezy days because they can trigger a lot more allergy issues, make it last longer. Now, the good news is that by Thursday, we're going to see less wind, but the temperatures will be rising. So let's talk about what happens when the wind is up today. You're going to have less bugs out there, less mosquitoes, but more pollen available to blow around and maybe bother you. It all depends on your personal reaction to pollen. The next thing that's going to happen is I think everyone will be affected by this. There's just more pollen dust everywhere, making things dirty, especially your car. So, if you're going to wash your car, maybe do it tomorrow instead of today because the pollen's just going to collect the second you get home. You know that that's going to happen. And then we're looking at warming conditions going into the weekend. With less wind, you feel it more. Temperatures in the 40s down low, which is normal, the 20s up high. For your almanac, remember, we can hit 90 degrees this time of year, and we're not going there, but we're going to live in that world starting tomorrow where we're well above average, but not quite record-breaking. Today, we're looking at highs in the low to mid 70s. It's really the wind that's the story today because that's all we have going on. Is there any rain, snow, anything? What about Oregon? What about Nevada? What about anything? Nope. We don't see anything on the entire West Coast for the next week or maybe two. So we're hoping that will change, but at this point, it's not. Temperatures in the 60s and low 70s for the foothills. Your weather is different because of elevation. And then for the valley floor, it's all about the 70s now and the 80s for this weekend. Brittany?